Strip away the crowds and the background music, and a massive retail complex at night turns into an oppressive, echoing vacuum. It's a liminal space where the silence feels heavy, and every shadow seems to stretch just a little too far. Our protagonist walks into this setting because of a suspiciously lucrative job ad. The pay is high, and the manager, Mr. Hensley, skips every standard background check. He hires the guard on the spot, only pausing to mention that they are understaffed because the last few guards didn't last. The shift begins at 11 p.m. The guard is left in a cramped security office at the back of the building, surrounded by banks of glowing monitors displaying grainy, motionless footage of the corridors. The isolation is interrupted by a janitor who appears without a sound. Instead of emptying the trash, he hands the guard a crumpled, cheaply printed piece of paper. It's a list titled "Rules to Keep You Safe at Night," with specific warnings about staring at the cameras and acknowledging mannequins after midnight. The guard tries to dismiss this as an elaborate hazing ritual. He stuffs the paper into his pocket and heads out for his first patrol, convinced the old man is just trying to mess with the new hire. He has unknowingly traded the mundane protocols of corporate security for the lethal, unexplained mechanics of a paranormal survival game. The first threat comes from a category we can call the pursuers. While patrolling, the guard spots a storefront door wide open and shines his light inside, breaking Rule 2 by looking directly at the mannequins. When he moves his light away and then back again, one of the plastic figures has shifted toward the exit. As he retreats, he hears it. It's the heavy, deliberate scraping of hard plastic dragging against the floor tiles, its stiff joints creaking with every robotic step. This triggers Rule 3. If a mannequin is following you, do not look back. If the guard acknowledges the pursuer, it knows he's aware, and it closes the distance faster. He has to force himself to keep walking, while the scraping grows louder behind his head. Other entities, the observers, don't chase. They manipulate the environment. Seeking refuge in a restroom, the guard checks his watch. He's been on shift for hours, but the digital display has jumped backward to 11:30 p.m. Back in the security office, he sees another observer on the monitors. A tall, unnaturally spindly figure with completely shadowed features stands perfectly still as an escalator carries it upward. The entity turns its head and looks straight into the security lens, making direct eye contact with the guard through the screen. Instantly, the monitors dissolve into harsh static and a deafening electronic buzz. These initial encounters reveal a mall that functions as a conscious, predatory organism, actively warping time and space to disorient its prey. As the night progresses, the mall deploys the lures. Governed by Rules 5, 8, and 9, these phenomena attempt to trick the guard into leaving the safety of his locked office. The guard hears distorted, underwater-like voices murmuring from behind the papered-over windows of an abandoned store. They sound like people in distress, specifically designed to draw him closer to the glass. At 4:03 a.m., the lures escalate to a direct mimicry. A voice sounding exactly like the friendly janitor knocks on the office door, teasing the guard and trying to coax him to open up. Checking the camera feed reveals a horrifying sight outside the office door. A man in a janitor uniform stares directly up into the lens with an eerie grin, his body wavering before dissolving into thick mist. The final lure is a pale woman with long, dark hair who glides just above the floor, sobbing as she drifts toward a dressing room. She violates the laws of physics, moving in slow, jerky motions that suggest she has no weight at all. When the guard retreats to the office, the woman follows. Her quiet sobbing stops and is replaced by violent, frame-shaking pounding against the door, threatening to shatter the frame as she tries to force her way in. These lures are actually the mall's most effective tools because they weaponize the guard's fundamental human instinct to help others, attempting to turn his compassion into a fatal vulnerability. The guard survives until 6:01 a.m. When manager Hensley arrives to relieve him, the guard immediately asks about the night janitor who provided the survival rules. Hensley's reaction provides the final chill of the night. He confirms there is no night janitor. No one else has been employed to work in the building after hours. The guard hands over his keys and quits on the spot, fleeing the mall without ever learning who wrote the list in his pocket. This janitor occupies a specific role in the mall's ecosystem. the phantom guide. This diagram shows the likely cycle. A new arrival is consumed by the mall, and eventually manifests as a guide to intercept the next victim. This janitor was likely the last guard who took the job. The one Hensley mentioned didn't last. He is now a permanent fixture of the mall's purgatory. In this role, he functions as a supernatural immune response. He materializes just long enough to pass on the survival knowledge he learned too late, hoping to prevent the mall from claiming another soul. He eventually vanishes into the dark corridors because he is bound to the haunting. He is doomed to walk these halls forever, attempting to save the newcomers who are hired to replace him. Survival in the mall requires the guard to ignore the official